Hi everyone, Zach Pagoff here, and welcome back to another lesson video. Today, I will be going over the 15-4 text. So let's jump right into the video. Okay, so as I had stated before, I'm going to be going over the 15-4 text, which is the fourth and final lesson in Chapter 15. That's right, after I finish recording, editing, and uploading this video, along with the 15-4 work together, we will be done with Chapter 15, and we'll be moving on to Chapter 16 relatively soon. But anyway, let's jump right into the 15-4 text. So in this lesson, we will be learning about preparing a balance sheet for a corporation. Alright, so there are a few key terms that I'd like to go over before we start the accounting part of this lesson. So current liabilities are liabilities that are due within a short period of time, usually within a year. Long-term liabilities are liabilities that are owed for more than a year. And a supporting schedule is a report that is prepared to give details about an item on a principal financial statement. Okay, next we're going to be talking about balance sheet information on a worksheet. So when we talk about balance sheet information on a worksheet, we are mainly referring to the assets, the liabilities, and the stockholders' equity. And if you remember from when I had said this back in Chapter 7, the purpose of a balance sheet is to prove that our accounting equation is in balance and that assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. And now that we are dealing with corporations, the accounting equation is assets equals liabilities plus stockholders' equity or shareholders' equity. Alright, next we're going to be talking about preparing the current assets section of a balance sheet. So when we prepare the current assets section of a balance sheet, there are multiple steps that we have to follow in order to complete this process. First, we write the heading. Next, we begin the assets section. After that, we calculate the book value of accounts receivable. Following that, we fill in the remaining current asset accounts and also the amounts. And finally, we calculate the total current assets. Okay, next we're going to be talking about preparing the plant assets section of a balance sheet. So when we prepare the plant assets section of a balance sheet, there are multiple steps that we have to follow in order to complete this process. First, we write the heading, which is plant assets. Next, we calculate the book value of office equipment. After that, we use the same procedure to calculate the book value of store equipment. Following that, we calculate the total plant assets. And finally, we calculate the total assets. Alright, next we're going to be talking about preparing the liabilities section of a balance sheet. So when we prepare the liabilities section of a balance sheet, there are a few steps that we follow when doing this process. First, we write the heading, which is liabilities. Next, we write the account title and also the amount of each current liability. And finally, we calculate the total liabilities. Okay, next we're going to be talking about preparing the stockholders' equity section of a balance sheet. So when we prepare the stockholders' equity section of a balance sheet, there are multiple steps that we have to follow in order to complete this process. First, we write the heading, which is stockholders' equity. Next, we write the capital stock amount. After that, we write the retained earnings amount. Following that, we calculate the total stockholders' equity. Then, we calculate the total liabilities and stockholders' equity. And finally, we draw a double line rule to indicate that the total asset amount does indeed equal the total liabilities and stockholders' equity amount. All right, so the last thing that we're going to be talking about in this lesson is a completed balance sheet, and this is continued on the next slide. So what we're looking at here is part of a completed balance sheet for a corporation. And as you can see, we have all of the asset accounts that are listed right here. The amounts are listed right here. The total current asset amount is listed right here. The total plant asset amount is listed right here. And the total asset amount is listed right here. Continuing on to the next slide, as you can see, all of the liability accounts are listed right here. The amounts are listed right here. And the total liability amount is listed right here. And lastly, the stockholders' equity accounts are listed right here. The amounts are listed right here. And the total stockholders' equity amount is listed right here. And if we take the total liability amount and add it to the total stockholders' equity amount, that will give us the total liabilities and stockholders' equity amount, which does indeed equal the total asset amount. So since the two numbers are the same, we can draw a double line rule. Okay, so that is the end of the 15-4 text. In the next video, I will be going over the 15-4 work together. All right, thank you.